Hi, this is Scott Wilson. I'm the founder of Digital Influence. Hey, if you're wanting to learn how to embrace change and navigate through the disruption as a leader, then listen to the Leadership is Changing podcast with my good friend, Denis.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas.
Hey, welcome to the show, Leadership is Changing. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Leaders everywhere confront similar obstacles because people are people, but everywhere you go, leaders are overwhelmed, disrupted, and under pressure. They run from email to email, meeting to meeting. Many leaders are not changing quick enough, which means they run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. The purpose of the show is taking our listeners' leadership to another level by finding their balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. I believe we don't have enough effective leaders in the world today, and if we can get the leaders to step up and lead change, they can inspire real change. Hey, listeners, it's now time to adapt in our fast-moving world, and I have a great guest with me here today. His name's Scott Wilson. He is the founder of Digital Influence, a digital marketing and advertising agency. Over the last 16 years, Scott has shown thousands of businesses through his seminars, online workshops, and S5 digital sales and marketing system, how to win more business from the internet. Scott's leadership style is simple. Hire the best people you can find and then get out of their way. Lead through core values and daily meeting rhythms and celebrate your victories. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
Cheers, Denis. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, great. Great to have you here. Hey, just giving you a quick introduction on you. Tell us a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, a little bit about my background. So I love business. That's my thing. I really do love business. Grew up in a family where business wasn't the thing. It was going and getting a job and doing that sort of stuff. But I always had a passion. I saw my uncles, or no, my grandfather, my great grandfather. They owned farms and they worked really hard and were very successful. And then I went to school and I didn't really enjoy school, but I didn't mind hard work because I'd go to the farms and I'd work hard. And my dad, he was in one job for 47 years at the freezing works, so yeah, I didn't really see. I wasn't really around business people at all. But as soon as I got into sales and marketing, I kind of saw that there was another way forward, and really. Went to school to eat my lunch and play cricket. And I wasn't really a good reader. I kind of didn't understand why you had to read certain books that I couldn't even pronounce the words, like some of the Shakespeare stuff and some of the, Animal Farm and all this sort of stuff. So I didn't read a lot. And my life kind of changed when I was actually in London. I was working for a guy who had a building company where me and my friend Dean had made him a lot of money, and he invited us to come to Spain for the Christmas holidays. And he said, I remember him, he said, look, we're going to go to the bookstore and we'll get some books because, there's obviously a number of things to do, but, probably want to read a book. And I was like, Sonny, there's no way I'm reading a book. And we went to the bookstore anyway, and he said something that changed my life. And it was like, Scott, look, you can choose any book you want to read. And, all through my schooling career and all that sort of stuff, I was told what to read.
Right.
And, I don't know about you, but as a business owner, I don't like being told what to do all the time. But it made a profound difference. And it was really interesting. I wasn't really into basketball at all, but all my mates had played basketball. But I saw this book by Dennis Rodman, As Bad as I Want to Be. And he played for the Bulls. And he was kind of like the guy that was different. And I read this book and it just opened my eyes to another world that was out there and how you could actually educate yourself on everything that you wanted just by reading books. And that led my passion for reading books and got me into sales and marketing, got me to where I am today. And, I think Sonny, for that time, he really did change my life. He probably didn't even know that, but it really has made a significant difference.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting way that you're putting it, because for a lot of leaders today, whether they're an entrepreneur, they have their own business, or they're in a large corporate, whatever it is, what we say and what we do does have impact on people and has impact on people for life. And so I think, the example you talked about there with Sonny and giving you that sort of feedback or helping you and encouraging you was really quite cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It opened up another world, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, cool. Hey, have you? How did you get into leadership? How did you get into that whole space
Um,
of?
so back in the day when I left, I was working for a large corporate, and I was actually looking after a group of resellers throughout New Zealand, and sort of managing groups of people. They were business owners themselves. But then I sort of wanted to start my own business. And the interesting thing is, when I started my own business, I actually never really wanted to have any team members.
Mm,
And it was kind of like I was going to do this by myself. And in my first business, that's what I did, and I grew that. But then I realized as I got into my second business, there was no way it was going to grow without having people on board. And so that was a big shift for me, like to get into the actual having other people around, because and now, like, I wouldn't have it any other way, right? But at the time it was like, I didn't really want to do anything with people, so yeah.
yeah, life would be so much simpler without people. Hey?
Yeah, I do really enjoy it now, though. Like, it's a
Mm,
complete, complete turnaround. I wouldn't have it any other way. But that's definitely how I got into it. And I had a search engine optimization business. We were doing a lot of stuff with Google, and we were hiring people, really smart people, and we just had to hire them and then leave them to it, which was challenging, to say the least, at sometimes.
yeah, and you're right. I mean, and that's what we said in your introduction, right? Hire the best people you can find, and then get out of their way. And I think
Totally.
that's getting out of their way is a big thing, right? Because we can get in their way, and we have to definitely get out of their way, for sure. Hey, Scott, who's your favorite leader? Now, this person could be alive or from history. Who's your favorite leader and why?
I love, like, Jim Rohn was a real leader for me, and I really, the reason I loved it was his philosophies were so simple. Work harder on yourself than you do in your job. It was like, that's something that really sung to me. Like, work harder on yourself. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. And so he has led me over the years. Never met him personally, but have met him, through my ears and through the written book. He was someone that really led me. And what I liked about what he was talking about is he talked about things and gave stories and examples and metaphors. And I,
Yep.
I really like his thinking, and how he would challenge you. And I think that's what, as a leader, that's one of your jobs, is to challenge people as well. So yeah, Jim Rohn for me would be someone who really stood out. I still to this day love listening to him.
I love the way he speaks, huh?
Yeah,
And then his voice and the way he says things towards the end of a sentence. It's
yeah,
really
of
quite,
course, of course.
yeah, tremendous. Yeah.
Because his mindset, and I think as a leader, that's something that you should be sharpening as much as you can.
Yes.
Your mindset and bringing what you bring to the game. So yeah, Jim Rohn, world class.
Yeah, very good. Now, the show's called Leadership is Changing. When I
Yeah.
say that terminology, what does that mean for you?
I had a good think about this, and I look at the way my leadership is. I think, as the world quickens up, and now we got people wanting to work from home, you got people working in the office.
Yep.
This whole game is changing, right? There's different laws around all this sort of stuff now. There's going to be different laws created because of everything that's going on. So, I think leadership now has to be more open and
Hmm.
transparent. And I think, and that's definitely where I see it, because if you want a world class team, I'm a massive believer in hiring good people and getting out of their way, but leading through the core values, leading
Right.
through the vision and the bigger picture, but then bringing it back to the core values that everyone can buy into, and everyone can take ownership of. And I think that's where, for me, the change is coming, because you're going to have people that want to work from home. You're going to have, and that brings a different dynamic to a team. Like, it's not as connected. So how do we make it connected? Well, we've got to make it connected through some core vision or core values that can really help us drive forward. And so that's the biggest thing I see changing, is just how you connect your teams.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that word connect that you've just used there, and connect, we use technology to connect, whether it's face-to-face and also virtual. But then the other thing too would be connecting them and reminding them and connecting back time and time again to the core values, as you're saying, because it's not just a 5-minute wonder tick in a box. Hey, we've got our core values.
Yeah.
It's actually bringing it to life for them, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And bringing to life core values is the key. For me personally, and that's what I believe. We have 4 core values in our business. Number 1 is happy to come to work, happy to leave. So what I mean by that is I want people that are happy to turn up, whether they're working from home or whether, because we have a global team, or whether they are coming into the office. I want them happy to come here. Like I always tell my people, it's not a jail. You don't actually have to be here. But if you are going to be here, be happy, be happy in your work. Look to deliver world-class stuff, But I also want them happy to leave. I want them happy to actually have things outside of work that they're going to and enjoying, right? Because that's a big part of it, right? You don't want just people that are turning up to be robots every day, right? But yeah, that's core value number 1. Number 2 is passionate about seeing others win. So we have a hashtag. Well, one of my philosophies is celebrate your victories. We have a daily meeting rhythm, and one of the things that we do first off in that meeting rhythm is daily wins. It could be a personal win, it could be a client win, but you bring a win to the table. So people like to win, right? And we love seeing others win. We want our clients to win. I jokingly say to some of our clients, my staff care about you winning more than most of your employees do. And you know what? They get it. The owners of those businesses get it because they see it day in, day out. Our team work hard for them, right? So that's a real big one. And I think that galvanizes people when they hear about success and they bring their successes to the table. So it's a great way to get feedback going with people. Then another one, a third core value was world-class training, world-class outcomes. So I'm a massive believer in giving the team the best training we can afford. Okay, we work in an environment that is hugely competitive. I was saying in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, and it seriously is in the digital space. So I want to give my team the upper hand by giving them world-class training, and that really helps them, right? That helps them be the best that they can be, but also it helps our clients. That's the outcome to it. And I've seen that time and time again. Some people said to me, "Oh, you're training teams, and people, then they'll leave and start their own business, and that's great. Like awesome. At least they're go and then go do a good job for the other people that they're going to work for, right?"
Well, that's part of your success story, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
it's how it should be. It's just a different way of thinking, and I'd rather have them here and they're awesome than have them here and they're not that awesome, right? So this is the cool thing about having core values too. When I learned this and understood this and started implementing it, core values allow you to hire on core values, but also fire on core values. So it never becomes a personal. When you're getting rid of someone, it never becomes that personal because they're out of alignment with your core values, and you can actually talk them to that, and people then decide, hey, yeah, this probably is not the environment for me. So, and the last one is influence through education. We believe if you influence people on the value of doing business with you by giving them education in advance, then you get a better person showing up. So for me, core values is a strong part of leadership, and to some degree, you can have self leadership within the teams now because they all understand the core values, so they know what's right and what's wrong for them.
Yeah. You've set that expectation as well, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
And I like the 4 core values for sure, and bringing it to life, team. Hey, listeners, so here with Scott Wilson, we're just talking about the core values of what he uses with his team and helps them bring it to life for them, but also their customers too. So it's fantastic. Hey, Scott, how has your business or industry changed, and what demand has that put on you and the team?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like our business has definitely changed. Look, we were going. along pretty good. Then obviously lockdown happened. I jokingly said to my mates, I missed getting all the painting and home renovation gear ready during that lockdown period. A lot of my mates did their houses up and stuff. We were just too busy working. People were wanting to move online, and that's even starting to increase now. I kind of saw what was happening over the last few years with the way digital, the ad spend on digital was increasing, and in 2019 it overtook traditional media in America. But I think exponentially that's going to grow now, and more people are shifting online. There's some real challenges with that, though, is around expectations of what they think they can achieve. So that's really a hard one for us, and that's why we have a daily meeting. So on our daily meetings we focus on wins, we focus on what we're focusing for the day and what hurdles we've got. So all the team know they're across all that sort of stuff. So it really is keeping those rhythms going. So because change is constant in this industry, you could wake up in the morning and see 2 ad accounts banned for no other reason that Facebook just made that, and so then someone has to spend, a good part of half a day online talking to the teams about Facebook to get that back, so there's every industry has their challenges, and that's just what we're dealing with now. And I think, you have to prepare for that. One of the young fellas here, Josh, the other day, has created a spreadsheet of every issue that we've ever had dealing with Facebook and Google and stuff. So when anyone has another issue, we can go back into that bank and go, oh, yeah, that issue. Okay, this is what we do with that.
Nice.
So
that's great.
Yeah. Just trying to learn from those issues, right?
Yeah, now you mentioned just before that there's a lot of businesses that wanting to get online. Well, what's probably one of the biggest aha moments or that businesses get caught on that sort of holds them back from going online or going online fast? I mean, what sort of holds them back?
Just not understanding the strategy, understanding, most people, if you look from a marketing perspective, most people are too focused on their product,
right,
versus the problems that they solve. So they go to the market online and they just talk about their product. Well, no one's actually searching online for your product unless you've got a really, big brand name. They're searching for the problems that they have. And so a lot of people come to us, and then it takes a little bit to get them to understand that, hey, you're going to have to create and enter the conversation that people are already having in their own minds about the problems that they have. But then you can leverage technology to do that, right? To become, so we teach people how to have 3 core messages, and then what are the problems that we solve, and then here's how we use a couple of really smart advertising formulas like consistency message plus frequency of reach to create relevancy. And it's an education process, because it's totally different than, say, like Yellow Pages or traditional, you can, with a phone, right? We teach people, you can create a video. You could have it up online in 15 minutes. You could have a client in 20. We've got a business that we've dealt with just before COVID. Coming out of COVID, they're a brand new business in a highly competitive financial industry. No brand name, no nothing. He's had over 250,000 video views on a video shot with an iPhone. I told him what to say. I gave him the script to say. It's a 6-figure plus business in probably the space of 3 months.
Amazing, eh?
And so that's the speed at which things can happen. And I think for us, our biggest thing is dealing with unspoken expectations. So making sure that we ask those hard questions at the start when we talk to clients or potential clients, interviewing them, actually knowing, do they know their numbers? Number one, do you know your numbers? Okay, you don't? Well, we need to know the numbers first. We need to know what it's going to cost you to get a client. We need to know what you're prepared to pay to get a client. And it's because the internet, and I think this is something that people are kind of starting to grasp, it's very transparent. So you can actually know, if you spend $5, how much you should get back. So for that client, we know we start his ads on a Sunday, turn them off on a Wednesday. He'll have probably in excess of 80 leads by then. We know what it cost him to get an approval, so we've taken his approval cost from $125 down to $62.50. That was using static ads. This is using video. And we know what it costs, per settled deal. And those are the numbers that you need to know. And I think that's the biggest challenge for the people that are getting into the digital space, because if you don't know the numbers, you can't win, because you'll probably spend too less. The people that can spend the most will win if you know your numbers. Because you're going to pay, you can afford to pay more to get a client.
Yeah, get it. Yeah. And I hear you actually saying two things. You've got to know your business and how it's solving problems for customers, and then know the numbers and actually getting the business in as well.
The metrics. Because you can go, you can dial it up or down, once you get it right. It's an exciting time to be alive, like seriously.
Yeah, cool.
Plus also shooting a video like that, 250,000 video views, and you can build an audience off the back of those people that are watching those videos.
All off a phone.
All off a phone. Crazy.
Amazing. Yep. Very good. Hey, if there was one thing that you could change in business as a leader today, what would it be? One
thing I would change. I think, at the speed at which things are happening, it's just crazy how some things, even the speed of everything that's going on at the moment with the virus and all that sort of stuff. It's just sometimes, and this is one thing, because I realized I couldn't change it, right? So I started using meditation and a guided meditation to actually quieten my brain, quieten my mind, because, as a business owner and someone who has a team and stuff, you get a lot of things happening. You don't just have, you don't have your business at 9 o'clock and you finish at 5 o'clock and that's your business. Your business is 24/7, and then you have a family, and then, you have your friends and all this other stuff. So I found that the speed of things, it was really, taking. So the thing I decided to change was me and doing meditation. I came in this morning, I was here at 7:30, I did a guided meditation for 20 minutes, and then I go and write my goals and my tasks and stuff for the day. So that was the thing I decided to change, and it's been a revelation, really.
Awesome.
It's not something I thought I'd do,
No.
I'm a Kiwi bloke, traditional, rugby, racing and beer and stuff, and not someone who's going to do guided meditation, but it's probably been one of the biggest, the best things I've ever done.
And you're saying it's 20 minutes. Do you do that every day, or is it just?
I do not every day, but it's a guided meditation. There's a lady called, what's her name, Grace Smith. She has a whole bunch of different ones, so you can plug different ones into whatever you want to do. Some of them are a bit longer, and I'll do that pretty much probably 5 times a week. Yeah. And it really helps, especially, when you're wanting to get a number of things done and just focus your mind in what you're doing.
Great. Hey, listeners, if you haven't tried it out already, Scott's just talked about how one thing he's changed in business is actually, as a leader, he has actually taken things to do some guided meditation for 20 minutes and actually take time to help him slow down things in his brain and his mind and his, what's going on between his ears. And so he's actually used that to slow him down. So then he can actually be in a position whereby he's probably going to make better decisions. He'd probably make more informed decisions, more. And I don't know. I mean, I can't talk for your staff or the team in that, but I don't know. I mean, I know the leaders that I've worked with who've done similar things too, Scott. They've become better, more effective leaders, but they're actually become a lot nicer to be around. And so people are having a lot more fun with them.
Yeah, totally. And look, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it too, right? Like, you can feel like you're just going to burst sometimes when you're, dealing with a whole bunch of stuff. And so it's just a great way to, like, I go to the gym in the morning. I go to the gym at 5:30, and then I have my breakfast and that with my family. Then I come into the office, and then it's kind of my time in that morning space, where I set myself up for the day. And so I really enjoy it. And I think, give it a go if you haven't, and if you feel that that weight or anything that's coming on you, or you just can't get a clear head, then it's a great way just to reset. And I do the guided one, like it's called hypnotherapy, because if I sit there by myself and my brain just goes, so I actually use a guided meditation because I've just found it easier for me in my creative head.
Right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, very good. And so I think, a lot of successful people in life, and whatever they do have this discipline of the time they get up in the morning, what they do, the rituals they do every day.
Yeah.
Like you just said, like gym, and then there's the breakfast with the family, then in the office, and it's your time again, whereby you're doing that meditation and so forth, setting your goals for the day,
Yeah.
tasks and that, which is really important. So,
Yeah.
well done. Hey, this is a question around the team and employees, and not just your team. This might be you might be able to see in the market as well, but also through other friends. How has employee expectations of leaders changed?
Yeah, I think when I look at that and reading that question, I was like, one thing I think I've seen change is people want a lot more transparency from their leaders now,
Right.
and they want to, I guess, be involved and be involved in something that's bigger than just coming to work. So I think, for me, that's probably be the number one thing, is that transparency. And I think that's a good thing, because you can let them in on, the things that you're going through as a business owner, or as a business leader, or leadership in the business. And you can show them, hey, this is actually what I'm dealing with as well. Even just
Yeah.
the conversation yesterday I had with one of my team, I just showed them some stuff, and they were like, wow, such and such said there was more to this. And I said, yeah, exactly, there is. So that's why I showed you, because I need you to understand. And, I'm letting you behind the curtain a little bit, right? And I think that's important too, to be transparent, and so that they understand.
Sure.
Because a lot of people, and it was interesting. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was saying, he helps some business owners with stuff, and one of it was, he was talking about how, some of the guys he deals with were feeling guilty about leaving early some days, and the staff would go, oh yeah, the boss is off again, and all that sort of stuff. But they don't see the hours that you're doing,
Yeah.
maybe at night or in the weekends and stuff. So just maybe showing them and sharing with you what you're actually up to is a good thing, so because you don't have to feel guilt, but because you're not being transparent about the process, they don't have any other way to judge you.
Nice. So pull the curtain back a little bit, be a little bit more transparent with your team, and allow them to see things that they may not always see.
Yeah.
And I think they will appreciate it as well, right? So, which is really good. Excellent. Hey, so you shared before some things, which I think will go into this question, but if there's something actually additional to what you might want to share, or what you shared before, which is what makes a leader successful today in the fast-paced, ever-changing world?
I just want to go back to probably the thing I said at the start. When you hire people, hire the best people you can. Be really ruthless with that. We've just been through that hiring process recently, and we could have hired two people. We hired a person, but then it's like, okay, we've hired them. Now let's get out of their way. Okay, we give them some form of structure. But one of the things we do in the first 90 days with our new hires is they have to send us a daily email, and it's real clear. I'll find one of them, because there's some really good content that I can share. So it basically captures 5 key areas. And basically, one is today, what did you achieve? Okay, so they just basically let us know what they achieved. Number 2 is problems they ran into, which is a real good one, right? Because you might think everything's working really, really well, but the recent hire was straight away, oh, here's one of the problems I ran into. The computer that I'm working on is really slow. And I'm like, man, it's a brand new Mac. That's weird. Okay, so we went in and we found that the old person who had been using it had dumped a whole bunch of video files on it that we didn't need anymore. So the computer was really slow, right? So if I hadn't asked that question, the person would have just been put up with the old computer, right? And we would have never found it out. So one email every 90 days, or every day for 90 days. What's your plan for the next working day? Okay, so it gets them thinking about their next working day. Then is what you need help with. Okay, is there something that I can help you with, or what do you need help with when you work? And that's, once again, to get some asking questions, type of stuff. And then the fifth one is the most important, and it's, okay, what opportunities have you seen in this business And what opportunities have you seen to make it better?
Wow.
So all of a sudden, I'm getting fresh eyes over my business going, okay, so this young lady, the first 2 days in, she's settled in, the emails coming in. One was, your website's not that great, we need to change it. I said, cool, you're now in charge of that.
Awesome.
She was like, what? I said, yep, you've found the opportunity, you've seen it, you want to go, you've got the skills, go change it. 2 days later, your social media needs a facelift. Cool. Tell me what we need to do, and now you're in charge of it. All right. So the whole time, these people, they're giving you opportunities. We had a meeting, a brainstorming meeting. The structure wasn't as good as what she had used in the past. She gave us from where she used to work, a really defined structure for a brainstorming session. That's now become a policy in the business. We're now selling that and making money from that decision. The girl has only been with us 3 weeks.
Brilliant, huh? That's great.
Yeah.
So hire the best people that you can.
Hire the best people
and then empower them.
Empower them, yeah, empower them. Like give them that email framework, and happy to share it. I can send it to you if people want to use it. But it's a beautiful thing, especially the last one, because fresh eyes in a business will always see the things that you are not seeing, and it's the best time you can get before they get into some of those habits that you actually have in a business, right? And then they can bring value. But then also, if they come with ideas, you let them implement them. No matter if they don't implement them the best or not, you just let them implement it. You can fix stuff over time,
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that's great. So that's what a leader can do to be successful today in this pace ever-changing world. Here's a question for you, and it's more about the future. So it's getting you to get your crystal ball out here right now. So where do you see leadership being in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. Where do I see leadership being in the next? I kind of see, for me personally, having a group of leaders together, and when I look at that, getting around more and more people, I think is really important. Even like customers and stuff like that are leaders. Actually getting around them and learning, and I guess that's a big thing for me. I'm always looking to learn stuff from other people, whether they're a client or whether they are, coaches or mentors. I think that's, it'll become more transparent. I think the key, and this is one of the things I'm getting my team to focus on, is being more connected with your clients, being more connected. So for me, we're running a lot more events, and when I mean events, social events, connecting people events, because as the world becomes less connected, then we want to be the people that are connecting people, because people are still humans. They still thrive that connection, right? So I think, for me, where do I see leadership? I see the leaders that have the more human connection will be the ones that really, really stand out. The ones that are prepared to, and this is something I learned from my father passing away, is have the hard conversations. Have hard conversations with people, because they'll respect you for it more. So being prepared to be open, transparent, and have hard conversations is a recipe for success in the next 5 years. Because I see, as the world speeds up and there's so much false information out there, you being more connected with people and having conversations with them, I think that's where you can really strive forward.
Excellent. Yeah, Scott, I think that's great. And I remember meeting you for the very first time. I think we were in Sydney together.
Yeah, we would have been.
At an event. And then
event.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how many years ago, probably a little while ago. Huh?
Yeah, it'd be easily 10, 15.
15 maybe, yeah, it was great. And so, even then, just getting around people again at another event, connecting with people, learning off each other, that's just keep doing it. And I see you do that all the time, which is great, and which is brilliant. So yeah, team listeners, connect with people as much as you can going forward, is what Scott's saying. So that's wonderful.
Like, where do you see it? Where do you you see 5 years?
I see leaders definitely having to be more transparent, but I think we actually need to see leaders stepping up and showing up. There are a lot of people hiding at the moment. There are a lot of people like, I don't know, and I can't handle this and that. We definitely need leaders to step up, for sure.
Yeah.
Number two is the transparency, as you said before. Totally get that. And then the third thing would be, it's about how they can lead in a way that's actually going to take people on the journey and empower others more whether it be through connecting, whether it be through what you said before about getting people to do things. That's going to be the leader that's going to really lead and do really well. I actually think even just through the pandemic and seeing companies go in, countries go into lockdown, but then seeing companies having to pivot and do things and adapt and all that sort of side of things, there were leaders who didn't step up.
Totally.
And there were leaders who did step up, and even if they didn't even have the leadership title or the management title, they still stepped up. Those are going to be the leaders of the future. And in the next 5 years, we will see leaders who will actually step up as well. But leaders who are not scared to say no, or not scared to say what they need to say. They're going to get things across the line, and it'll be interesting to see that happen.
I think that's so true. Like, when I worked in the corporate world, there were leaders by title, and there was a band of people, I called it the 250K band, and they stopped making decisions because they were just batshit scared about losing their jobs if they put their head up, in that corporate space in the day. If it was better to make no decisions than make decisions, right? So they wouldn't survive in this world now, I don't believe. You have to be brave. You have to make decisions. You have to be prepared to show people the way and go with what you believe as far as your leadership style. And I think that's going to be so important in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it is. You're right. And, I work with a lot of leaders at the moment who are saying to me, actually, Denis, the last year, 18 months, 2 years, I've actually been bored in what I'm doing. And actually, and I'm like, oh, so you've been bored. And then on the other, you're probably not giving everything you should be giving because you've been bored, but you're still taking that salary. You're still being paid for it, right? You're still happy to take it, aren't you? And they went, yep. I mean, well, that's not good enough. You have to be that corporate athlete, as I call them, or that person who's out there outperforming, a high performer, but you need to be disciplined and bring your A game every time. And if you're not, then get out of the way and let someone else come in who is going to bring their A game.
Totally. Yeah. Like that.
Awesome. Hey, Scott, thank you for joining us on today's show. If our listeners are wanting to get hold of you, where should they go?
Best place is LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Hang out on LinkedIn. So you can check me out on LinkedIn, Scott Wilson. I think it's LinkedIn.com hire Scott Wilson. Not for hire, but that's my domain there. But yeah, check me out on LinkedIn. Come and have a chat. I love having a chat on LinkedIn. I love sharing what we're doing on LinkedIn. So that's probably the best place for me.
Awesome. Hey, Scott, thanks once again for joining the show. It's a pleasure having you on here today.
Yeah, appreciate your time, Denis.
Thank you. Hey, what we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Change is incredibly scary, especially with the unknown, the unfamiliar territory. It is time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing. Hey, listeners, look out for the episodes as they're being released. Download them, have a listen, put a review and a rating. Share them with your network, family, and friends. Hey, if there's any feedback you'd like to give me, or if there is a question you'd like me to ask the guests as I interview them, or if there's a question you want to ask me on the Ask Denis freestyle episode that happens once a week, send me an email, denis@leadingchangepartners.com. Team, don't forget to join the Facebook group, Leadership is Changing. That is now live and for you to join. A great community there. Other than that, team, hey, great to have you on the show today, and thanks for joining. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.